the topic monitors, right? So in the last class, we discussed about the classic synchronization problems using semaphores, right? So if you see the dining philosopher problem, even though we are using the semaphores, we are having the deadlocks problem and it may lead to the starvation problem. Yes or no? Guys, the topics which we discussed in the last class are clear for you all, right? Yes or no? It may be the bounded buffer problem or reader's writer's problem or dining philosopher problem. All are clear for you all, right? Yes, only Jahnavi is responding. What happened to the others? I want all of you to respond. Yeah, let's wait for a few more minutes. The count is 24 only. So let's wait for some time so that we can start the monitors concept, right? Oh, I got it. Yes. Yeah. Thank you, Jahnavi. Power కూడా వచ్చిందమ్మా, there won't be any problem. Let me change my data to Wi-Fi. Using semaphores. Anil, please respond. Is it using semaphores? Only Anil wants me to repeat, or most of you wants me to repeat? If most of you wants me to repeat, then I'll do more. The count is 30 only. Why you people are not joining the class? Shall we wait for a few more minutes, Jahnavi, or can I start the dining philosopher problem? ఒక 40 అన్న వచ్చే వరకు వెయిట్ చేద్దామా లేకపోతే షాల్ ఐ స్టార్ట్ ద క్లాస్? Yes. So let's start with the dining philosopher problem. See, you all know what is dining philosopher problem. I have a dining table. Around the table, 5 philosophers are sitting, right? And here in their lifetime, the philosopher either has to do thinking or eating, right? The philosopher either can eat, think. So he'll be in the thinking state, and when he is thinking, sometimes he'll get hungry. For that, they have a rice bowl in the middle of the table. This is rice, all right? And they have their plates. They have their plates, and 5 chopsticks are available for the professors, right? So philosophers will be in the thinking state, right? This chopstick 0, chopstick 1, chopstick 2, chopstick 3, chopstick 4, whatever, right? So they will be in the thinking state initially. So when they are thinking, they might get hungry, right? So but here for eating, the condition is for the professor or the philosopher, the left side and the right side chopsticks has to be available to eat, right? The left and right chopsticks has to be available to eat, right? And here our condition is no philosopher should die starving for the food. That means we should get the chance to all the philosophers to eat the rice, right? So normally, if you try to give the normal solution, let's consider if the professor is hungry, right? and he is picking, but here the condition is to eat. First, the professor has to pick his left hand side chopstick. Then it has to, means the professor has to take the right hand side chopstick. If both are available, then only he can eat. Right? So we can say this may lead to the deadlock situation, or it may lead to the starvation problem. Now we try to give the solution for this problem using the semaphores now. So here we are defining 5 semaphores, that is chopsticks of 5. We are giving 5 semaphores, right? So if it is chopstick of I, you can call it as, if I is equal to 0, that is for the first philosopher. Chopstick of 1 is equal to second philosopher. Like that we'll give, we are defining 5 semaphores for giving the solution to the dining philosopher problem, right? Guys, up to this it is clear now? You understand this, right? What are the conditions and how to do that? Yes? Yes. So now we will see how the semaphores are giving the solution for this problem. How the semaphores are giving the solution for this problem. So I am trying to write the mutual exclusion code or the structure of the philosopher here. Right. So I am defining the semaphores like this. I'm defining the semaphores like this. Semaphore chopstick of 5. This is my semaphore I am defining. Now, what has to do? First, he will call wait on the chopstick of I. So, this is the code for philosopher PI. Remember, this is the code for philosopher PI, right? So, what the philosopher PI has to do to eat, right? If he is hungry, he has to execute this code. So how this code, by making use of the semaphores, will allowing the professors to eat, right? So first he will call wait on chopstick I, wait on chopstick I plus 1 percentile 5. Wait on chopstick I plus 1 percentile 5. If these two conditions satisfied, then only he can eat. So what these two conditions are doing is, he is checking that whether his left side chopstick is available or not. Let's consider it is for P0. Then what is I? 0, right? So chopstick of I, wait on chopstick of I. What it will check? Whether the chopstick I is less than or equal to 0. Where the chopstick I is less than or equal to 0. If it is available, it will be 1. If it is not available, it will be 0, because it is a semaphore, right? Initially, the semaphore value is 1. But if someone is inside the critical section, or if someone is using this chopstick, he will make it to 0, so that no one will be allowed to use the chopstick. So what this first wait condition is doing is, it is checking whether his left side chopstick is available or not. Yes, if available, he will pick the left side chopstick, and what he will do, he will make chopstick minus minus. That means now the chopstick C0 will be 0. Initially, the chopstick C0 is 1 because no one is using. Now P0 want to use it. He picked the chopstick. Then he made it 0. What this wait operation and the signal operation will do, you are clear with that, right, guys? See, to understand the semaphores, you should better understand what signal and what is wait operations are doing. Yes, what wait operation will do? First, it will check the condition whether the semaphore is less than or equal to 0 or not. If it is less than or equal to 0, it has to wait. Right? If it is greater than 0, he can enter into the critical section by making it 0. How it can be done? That semaphore minus minus. That is what will be done inside the wait operation. What is signal? It will simply increment the semaphore. That's all. It will simply increment the semaphore, right? Now, he has picked this left side chopstick by making it to 0. Now, what he will do, he will check for the chopstick I plus 1 percentile 5. What is I plus 1? I is 0 plus 1. 1 percentile 5 is equal to 1. He will check whether the right side chopstick is available or not. If not available, P0 has to wait. If available, he will pick the chopstick by making it to 0. Now C1 will be 0. Here, C0 is equal to 0. Now he made C0 equal to 0 and C1 equal to 0. So both C0, C1, both the semaphores he is using. He performed the wait operation on both the semaphores. Now he got both the chopsticks now. Now his left side chopstick is available and right side chopstick is available. Right? Left side and right side chopstick is available. Now he can eat. After eating, what he will do? He will signal the chopstick I. He will signal the chopstick I. Then signal chopstick I plus 1 percentile 5. So that means now he is making C0 equal to 1 and C1 equal to 1. Now he is releasing both the chopsticks. This is the simple structure for the philosopher. Now when the philosopher wants to eat, right, first what he will do is he will check. How he will check? By making use of the semaphores. By making use of the wait operation, he will check his left side is available. Then he will check his right side is available. If both are available, he will take the chopsticks and he will eat. After eating, he will release both the left side and right side chopsticks. Now here the condition is, if P1 wants to eat, P1 and P4 both has to be in the thinking state. That means when one person is eating, his neighbors will not be allowed to eat. Right? And after some, let's consider P2. P2 wants to eat the food, right? Simultaneously, it will be allowed. Why? Because simultaneously, it will be when P0 is eating, right? P2 is allowed. Why? Because his left side chopstick and right side chopstick both will be available. That means C2 and C3 both will be available. P0 is using only C0 and C1. Right here. P0 is using only C0 and C1. But when P2 is hungry, C2, C3 both are available so that he can be allowed. Right? When P2 wants to eat, he will be allowed. Either P3 also will be allowed. Either P2 or P3 will be allowed. But the neighbors are not allowed to eat. You got me, guys? Right? So the solution guarantees that no two neighbors are eating simultaneously. But one more problem with this dining philosopher using semaphores is it may also lead to the deadlock situation. Let's consider all the 5 are hungry at the same time and they will executing this structure and they are at this point, right, chopstick of I. So both means all the 5 philosophers will be lifting their left side chopstick. But right side will never be available because all are left their chopstick, right? All the elements of chopstick will be equal to 0. When each philosopher grabs to, tries to grab their right side chopstick, she will be delayed forever. Right? What is the solution that was given for this problem using semaphores is make sure that only 4 philosophers are occupying their seats, right? Only 4 can be accommodated at a time, right? So that one will be left to know, so that can solve the deadlock problem. So you're just breaking the circular weight here. That's all, right? The one more solution I can give is allow a philosopher to pick up her chopsticks only if both chopsticks are available. Right? So we will be putting the chopsticks in the critical section and make sure that, right, when a professor wants to eat, first we will make sure that C0 and C1 both are available. Then only we will allow the P0 to pick up their chopsticks. So this is one more solution I can give. And the third solution is make sure that the odd number philosophers pick up their left hand chopsticks first, and the remaining, that means the even number philosophers, will be holding their right side chopstick first. Right? This may not lead to the deadlock situation. Right? So this is how we can try to give the solution. So even though it is not free from the deadlocks, right? Even though it is not free from the deadlocks, the solution, right? So what we try to give is, we try to give a deadlock free solution, right? By making use of the monitors. Right? So, but if you try to do this, only 4 we are accommodating, no? One philosopher will be died because of the hungry, because he is hungry and we are not accommodated the philosopher the table. As I told you, if you give the solution, only 4 can be accommodated, no? So one will never be accommodated, right? And that may lead to the starvation. That means the P0 or whatever, the professor will be dying for the food. He will starve to death. If he is not getting the food, definitely he will starve to death, right? So whatever the solution here I am giving for avoiding the deadlock, so that is the deadlock free solution does not necessarily eliminate the possibility of the starvation. So even though you can eliminate the deadlock by doing that, starvation may happen, right? You cannot eliminate the possibility of the starvation here. So now we try to give the better solution for the dining philosopher problem by making use of the monitors. So before we are giving the solution using the monitors, right, I try to give you the briefing about the monitor. So I try to tell you what is a monitor, right? First we will see what is a monitor and how it will work. Then we will see how the monitors are used to solve the dining philosopher problem. Guys, clear? Dining philosopher problem? Anil, you should respond, ma. Clear. Okay, fine. So shall we move to the monitors now? Yes. Shall I start the concept, monitors? Yes. Okay. Seema, all the semaphores provide a convenient, effective mechanism for process synchronization, right? But using them incorrectly can result in timing errors. So if you don't use your wait and signal operations properly in the semaphores, right, they can result in timing errors that are difficult to detect, right? Since these errors happens only if the particular execution sequences takes place, and these sequences do not always occur. As I told you, we use the semaphores to make the processes execute in some order, right? And there we will be using the semaphores, right? So until unless that particular sequence occurs, you cannot identify that there are some timing errors happening. There are some timing errors happening because the sequences do not always occur. Remember, even though the semaphores are very effective mechanism for synchronization problems, but using them incorrectly can result in timing errors, right? So we have seen an example for such errors in the use of the counter in our solution. Yes or no, race condition, right? The producer consumer problem, the timing problem happens, but only rarely, right? And here the counter value will be changed only to 1. Once it will get affected only with the number 1. Either count plus plus or count minus minus will be affected, right? So that means The counter value appears to be reasonable, I can say here, because it is off by only 1. But the solution is obviously not an acceptable one. Yes or no? Right? If you see in the initial producer consumer problem, there we are using the count variable because they are not getting executed atomically, right? Because the count is being used simultaneously by the producer and the consumer, right? So count plus plus includes 3 operations. First, it will hold the count variable in the register. Then the register will be incremented. Then the incremented value will be again written back to the counter. This actually happens with count plus plus. Then count minus minus, the count value will be held in another register. Register will be decremented and the decremented value will be updated in the count. So if these 6 instructions are not getting executed in order, they will affect in the count value. Chusanga, that is race condition. You are understanding? Right? That is race condition. So even though that is affecting the count value by only 1, either because the count, let's consider count is 4. Either you may read it as 5 or you may read it as 3. Right? By only 1 value it will affect, but this is not acceptable one. Right? So this is the reason we introduced the semaphores initially, because we have the race condition and busy waiting with the Peterson solution or whatever the solutions we have given for the synchronization problem. So the best tool we introduced are the semaphores. But unfortunately, such timing errors can still occur when semaphores are used. Right? You are getting me? So to make you better understand this, I'll take a simple scenario, how this timing errors can occur, right? So let's consider I am using the semaphore for the critical section problem, right? We have a common area that I can call it as critical section. We have a critical section. There I am using the mutex semaphore. Sorry, I am using the semaphore for the critical section problem. And that semaphore variable, I am taking it as mutex. Mutex is the semaphore variable, right? Now, each process must execute wait before entering the critical section and signal when it is coming out of this critical section. You are getting me, guys? This all you know. When we have a critical section and when we are using the semaphores, the process which wants to enter into the critical section, first it will execute the normally first it will execute signal, then it will execute wait. But here what we are doing is first each process must execute wait before entering the critical section and signal when it is coming out of the critical sections, right? Wait and signal. So yes, whenever it is entering, it will execute the wait. In that, it will make the mutex 0 and it will make use of the critical section, and when it is coming out, it will make use of the signal, right? Now, if the sequence is not observed, 2 processes may be in their critical section simultaneously. How is, I'll tell you. So initially, it is the critical section whatever the semaphore I am using is mutex, and there are some processes P1, P2 like that which wants to enter into the critical section. Let's consider P0 wants to enter into the critical section. P1. What first P1 will do? It will execute the wait on mutex. What this mutex will do? First it will check whether the mutex is less than or equal to 0. If it is thing, if not, it will enter into the critical section by making it as mutex minus minus. Now let's consider if multiple processes are trying to execute this wait at a time. Both are trying to execute this mutex, right? And because all are doing simultaneously, they are trying to do it. They will find mutex is less than or equal to 0. Means they will find the mutex equal to 1 only. Why? Because the mutex minus minus was not done yet. Let's consider they are in checking the condition. Whether they will check mutex is less than or equal to 0. Yes. Now here the mutex is 1, this condition is failing, so that they will be allowed into the critical section by making mutex minus minus. Right? So simultaneously two processes are trying to execute this, because this mutex minus minus was not executed properly, just like how it happened with the count variable. Right? Count has to be do minus minus means it put in register count, then r equal to r minus r1 minus 1, then count will be r1. Right? This actually happens with the count, because this operation is not being performed as atomic. Right? For the second philosopher also, it will show mutex as 1, and the two philosophers will be allowed to enter into the critical section at the same time. You are getting me, guys? Because of this problem, you are understanding now how this problem is affecting your semaphores, right? The timing problems, right? Yes. So the two processes may be in their critical section simultaneously. Then it will lead to the difficulties. Next, we examine the various difficulties that may result. If two processes are in the critical section, definitely they may lead to some difficulties, right? They may lead to some problems, right? So note that these difficulties will arise even if a signal process is not well behaved. Signal plus చేయాలి కదండి signal లో, if that was not executed properly also, this kind of difficulties will occur. Right? So when this kind of problems will occur is when the programmer is not doing the programming correctly. So I can say that this situation may be caused by a honest programming errors or uncorporate programmer. If he has not done the critical section problem programming, right, properly, then this kind of errors will occur. It may allow two or more processes to be in the critical section at the same time, because the signal and wait was not properly used. You are getting me, guys? Yes. So now I try to give you two scenarios, ma. How the problem will occur, like in the text in your syllabus, these two scenarios was explained. So I'll try to do it. Suppose that a process interchanges the order in which the wait and signal operates on the semaphore mutex. So like this. So if the process wants to do it, it is doing like this. He is using signal first on the mutex, then critical section, then wait. So in this situation, several processes may be executing in their critical section simultaneously, violating the mutual exclusion requirement. Right? So when you can able to identify this kind of error, if several processes are simultaneously active in their critical section. Right? So when the programmer is doing, if he is using wait and signal wrong by interchanging them, if he is using, it will allow the multiple processes to be in the critical section. Why? Because it will not log the mutex, it will increment the mutex signal, right? So it will allow the multiple process to be in the critical section, right? So it is violating the mutual exclusion requirement, ma. And this error may be discovered only if the several processes which are there in the critical section are active, then only it can be done. Right? Now, suppose that a process replaces the signal and wait. Now, in that, one process is replacing the signal and wait. How this can look like? So, wait mutex first, then critical section, then wait mutex. Sorry, wait. Okay. What he is doing is, instead of making use of signal and wait, if he is using wait and wait, both waits, it leads to the deadlock situation. Suppose the process replaces signal with the wait. If a programmer is doing this for the critical section, it leads to the deadlock. Getting me, guys? Suppose a process omits the weight or the signal or both, mutual exclusion is violated or a deadlock will be occurred. So what are the different scenarios I have shown you, right? If the programmer he is not using the signal and weight properly, it may lead to different problems, right? So if he is calling first a signal then wait, your critical section problem, the mutual exclusion will be violating. If he is using both weight, it may lead to the deadlock, right? So these examples illustrate that various types of errors can be generated easily when the programmers use semaphores incorrectly to solve the critical section problem. You're getting me, guys? All these are nothing but what? I'm trying to show you the different misuse of the semaphores. If he is not using the semaphores correctly, what are the problems that may arise? Right, that what are the problems that may arise, right? If he is not using properly, it may allow more process to be in the critical section. Allowing more process in the critical section means definitely it will create the problem, right? So if you are doing if you are interchanging weight and signal operations, that also the same thing. Multiple process will be allowed to use the critical section, which is violating the mutual exclusion. But if you use both weight operations, wait and wait for entering and releasing, if the programmer is writing wait operations, then that will be leading to the deadlock problem, right? So these are the different problems which will occur along with the semaphores when the programmer is not writing the code, right? So to deal with such errors, the researchers have developed a high-level language construct. That construct is called monitor, right? We'll see the monitor now, guys. 1 second. Understand now what are the problems, different problems we can have when there are some programming errors, when the programmers are unable to write the code properly for the semaphores, it may lead to different errors, right? Yes or no, guys? So now how that can be solved using the monitors, we will see now, right? Coming to this monitor, so I can say it is it is the high level synchronization construct. So I can say this monitor is equal to your class in Java. Java lo మనం ఎలా classes రాస్తామమ్మా, construct types, right? Constructors, classes, right? You are aware of that, right? So if you see, I can say the monitor is a abstract data type, or ADT you can call, which encapsulates data with a set of functions to operate on that data that are independent of any specific implementation of the ADT. That means a monitor type is an ADT that includes a set of programmer defined operations that are provided with mutual exclusion within the monitor. Right? And here the monitor also declares the variables whose values define the state of an instance of the type. You understand, guys? ADT includes a set of programmer defined operations. Those operations you can define in the procedures, right? Programmer defined operations that are provided with the mutual exclusion within the monitor. It also declares the variables, right? So if you see initially, it is showing shared variable declarations, right? If you can see here, shared variable declarations, right? The monitor type also declares the variables whose values define the state of an instance of that type. It will give you the state of the instance, right? And along with the bodies of the functions that operate on these variables. So each procedure will have some body that will have the procedure. So when any procedure is being operated on the variable, that operation will be performed based on the procedure body, right? And remember, A function defined within a monitor can access only those variables declared locally within the monitor, right? So what are the procedures we defined? They can use only the variables which are defined locally. What are the variables we defined at the shared variable declaration part? Only those will be used by this procedure. Similarly, the local variables of a monitor can be accessed by only the local functions, right? And here, if you see the monitor construct, see, I'll show you here. Monitors. So I can say monitor is a construct. I can call it this as the monitor, right? And let's consider I have some variables here, shared variables. A, B, C are the shared variables. And I have the procedures like this, P1, P2 and P3. These are the three procedures, right? And consider there are two processes, P1 and P2. And monitor is used for the synchronization. Let's consider this is the critical section. And if any process wants to use the monitor, right, first it will get the access to the monitor. It will log the monitor so that no other process is allowed. Now, P1 can make use of the shared variables by making use of the procedures only. Let's consider the methods simple for your better understanding. I am taking the simple methods. P1 is the procedure which will perform the get operation. P2 is the procedure which will perform the set operation. Now, let's consider P1 wants to get the value of A. P1 wants to get the value of A. Then process P1 will call the procedure P1, right? Procedure P1 on A. So let's consider A is having the value 2. So this 2 value will be read by P1. P1 just want to read the variable. Let's consider P1 wants to set the variable B. Then P1 will make use of the procedure P2, right? With the set operation. So set operation means what? First he will read the value of B. Let's consider it is 4. And he want to make B is equal to B plus 1. So he will make it as 5. So P2 wants to make some modification. He want to write the data on B. He will set the value to B. Right? So this is how the operations can be performed on the variables, the shared variables using the monitor concept, right? So the monitor construct ensures that only one process at a time is active within the monitor. That is, the programmer does not need to code the synchronization constraint explicitly. He need not to do it explicitly. However, the monitor construct as defined so far, it is not sufficiently powerful for modeling some synchronization schemas. See here, the programmer means, see, whenever we are using this monitors, right, the programmer does not need to code the synchronization constraint explicitly. He need not to do it explicitly. So when he is calling the monitor, this will be done inside the monitor only. But I can say this monitor is not sufficiently powerful for modeling some synchronization schemas. So it will not completely provide you the synchronization schema. So for that, what we have to do is we need to define additional synchronization mechanisms along with the monitors. We need to provide some extra synchronization mechanisms along with the monitors. So these mechanisms are provided by the condition construct. This will be provided by the conditioner construct. I can say that as condition construct. So a programmer who needs to write a tailor-made synchronization schema can define one or more variables of type condition. So along with the code, so whatever the code here I can see along with this code, right? So at the end, what he will do is he will write a condition like this. I can write the condition along with my monitor. So how I am writing the monitor? I am writing the simple code here. So monitor of monitor type. Then I'll have some shared variables, shared variable declarations, and I am using function P1. It is having some body, function P2 up to function Pn with some body. Then I have some initialization code. initialization code, right? So after this I will end. But for, because I told you this simple monitor cannot provide you the synchronization, right? How we can stop a process from entering into this? That for that what we are doing is we are using the condition variables, right? A programmer need to write a tailor-made synchronization scheme, can define one or more variables of condition type. So at the end, what I do is I'll write a condition like this: condition x comma y. So based on the condition on these variables, process is allowed or process is not allowed into the critical section. You're getting me, guys? Right? Based on the condition, the processes are allowed to enter into the critical section. So the only operation that can be invoked on a condition variable are wait and signal. So on these condition variables, we will be invoking two operations, that is wait and signal, x dot wait and x dot signal. So what this x dot wait means? The process invoking this operation is suspended until another process invokes. You are getting me, guys? Right? X dot wait and entity, it means that the process invoking this operation is suspended until another process invokes. Let's consider P2 is invoking this. Then P2 will be suspended. P2 will be suspended until another process invokes. So another process calls the signal. Now, what is this X dot signal means? X dot signal operation resumes exactly one suspended process. Right? What it will do? It will resume exactly one suspended process. So if no process is suspended, then signal operation has no effect. See, there is no suspended process, but as X dot signal is getting invoked, it will not make any effect. That is, the state of X is the same as if the operation had never been executed. It's never been executed, like that, right? Now, I'll try to show you that in the diagrammatic form. See, this is the monitor's structure, right? So these are the points which I already discussed. It is a high-level abstraction that provides a convenient and effective mechanism for process synchronization. It is a ADT, abstract data type, internal variables only accessed by the code within the procedure. Local the shared variables, those can be used only by the procedures inside or the functions. Only one process may be active within the monitor at a time. Mutual exclusion is guaranteed by the compiler. Now, SEMA, this is the view of the monitor. So I have the shared data, and I have some set of operations, or you can call it as functions or procedures, whatever. And this is the initialization queue, initialization code, right? So when this monitor has to take place, when monitor should be called, that is be written in the initialization code. Then for the shared data, I have the entry queue. That means only one process is allowed to get access to the shared data, right? So first they will be in the queue. First process will be using the shared data. Then they will go out. Then next process will be using third, right? So this can be how this can be done. This can be done by making use of the condition variables, right? So by making use of the condition variables, this is that. See, here we have the two conditions, X and Y conditions, right? So based on the X condition, right? Based on the condition X, some processes will be allowed to share the data, and based on the condition on Y, right? Some process will be allowed. So if the condition, if this X condition is getting satisfied based on signal and wait operations, your processes will be getting access to the data, right? They will be in the suspend state, or they will be, means if it is calling wait, the other process will be in the suspended state, right? If it is calling a signal, one of the suspended process will be resumed, right? So if you see the condition variables, so you need a mechanism to allow processes wait within a monitor, right? So it is done by the condition variables. So let's consider there is a condition variable X can be accessed only via two operations, wait or signal. So if it is calling wait means a process that invokes the operation is suspended until another process invoked, right? X another condition variable ma. If you are calling wait means this will be suspended until one of the process releases it. So how that can be done? By making use of the signal, right? X dot signal means it resumes one of the processes that invoked X dot wait, right? ఏవైతే లాక్ అయి ఉన్నాయో X dot wait తోటి that will be released by the signal, right? You are getting me, guys? If no process in the suspender of variable, then it has no effect on the variable. If there is no suspended process and you try to execute the signal, X dot signal, it won't make any effect on the variables, right? So this is the diagram for the condition variables, right? So guys, up to this it is clear? Please respond. Yes, okay, fine. Now suppose that when X dot signal operation invoked by a process P, let's consider when the X dot signal, just listen to the condition ma. Let's consider when X dot signal operation is invoked by a process P and there exists a suspended process Q associated with this condition X. X అనే కండిషన్ తోటి ఒక సస్పెండెడ్ ప్రాసెస్ ఉంది. And when a process P is invoking X dot signal operation, right? Clearly that if the suspended process Q is allowed to resume its execution. అవునా కదా? Q already suspend అయి ఉంది, P signal call చేసింది on that condition X, then Q will be released, right? It can be resumed from the suspended state, right? So the signaling process P must wait. Otherwise, both P and Q would be active simultaneously within the monitor. Here two conditions can occur. When P is calling signal, P can wait, right? P must wait. Avuna kada? P is in the critical section ma, and it is calling the wait. That means it is allowing one of the suspend process to allow the critical section. Then here two possibilities can exist. One is P must wait. Otherwise, P and Q would be active simultaneously within the monitor. However, that conceptually both processes can continue with their execution. Here two possibilities exist. What are the two possibilities is, yes, you can see this. If process P invokes X dot signal and Q is suspended in X dot wait, what would happen next? Both Q and P cannot execute in parallel. If Q is resumed, P must wait. Avuna kadamma? You try to understand this. If a process P invokes X dot signal, right? X is the condition variable and Q is in the suspended state, right? Q is in the suspended state in X dot wait. Then what happens? Both cannot get execute parallel. So if Q is resumed, P must wait. So here you have two options. One is signal and wait. The second one is signal and continue. Signal and wait means P either waits until Q leaves the monitor or it waits for another condition. When P is calling signal, right? P either wait until Q leaves because now Q got the chance now. It got invoked, it got resumed. Initially it was suspended, but with this X dot signal, it got resumed. So here P can wait until Q leaves. Q critical section use cheskoni velle varaku P must wait, or else it can wait for another condition. That means if some other process calls the signal on X, then P can enter into the critical section. This is one possibility. The second possibility is Q either waits until P leaves the monitor or it waits for another condition. That means even though the Q was resumed, it will wait until P leaves. P called the signal, but it is not leaving the critical section. So in this second condition, signal and continue means Q either wait until P leaves. So both will be in the critical section, but Q will wait until P leaves the critical section. P leaves the monitor or it wait for another condition. Right? These are the two possibilities, right? So, but there are some reasonable arguments in favor of adopting either option. So if you take these two options, definitely there are some things that we should discuss here, right? So what are those is, since P was already executing in the monitor, the signal and continue method seems more reasonable. It won't waste much time because P is already executing in the monitor, right? If it is opted for the second option, that is signal and continue, right? Here P will be continued. P will be continued until P leaves the critical section. I can say this is the better one. It won't waste much time. But however, if we allow P to continue, by the time Q is resumed, the logical condition for which Q is waiting may no longer hold. Because the Q is resumed. But if you allow P to continue, right? Maybe the Q condition, the logical condition for which Q was waiting may no longer hold. Right? So a compromise between these two choices was adopted. In the language concurrent Pascal, it was executed, right? When the thread P executes the signal operation, it immediately leaves the monitor, hence Q is immediately resumed. So for this condition, what we are doing is we try to give a better solution. A compromising between choices was adopted in the language concurrent Pascal, right? Pascal code. When P is executing the signal operation, it immediately leaves the monitor, hence Q is immediately resumed. So that way we have to do. That means signal and wait is time taking. Why? Because P is signaling the Q, but P is waiting until Q executes. See, if you say take these two scenarios, signal and wait means P either waits until Q leaves the monitor or it waits for another condition. P signal pass chasing P calls signal, but it is in the monitor only. It is not left the monitor yet. But here what it will do is P will wait until Q completes. P is not done the task, but it calls the signal. Right? When P is calling the signal, it will wait until Q completes its task and leaves. Or else it will wait for any other process to call the signal on the monitor. The second one is Q will be allowed. Q is resumed, but it should wait until P leaves. Right? So if you take these two, the first one is time taking. Why? Because P has to wait for longer amount of time. P completed a bit, it allowed the Q. Q has to complete. After completing the Q, then only P will be resumed. In the second case, it will allow the Q to enter into the monitor, but P will be continued. Right? So I can say it is more reasonable. Why? Because P is not waiting here. There is no waiting time. It is getting executed. But the problem is if you allow Q, P, the Q, whatever the logical condition for which Q is waiting may no longer hold. So then the Q in the monitor maybe that may not be no longer, it will be hold, because we are making Q is wait until P completes. But to give a better solution, to give the compromise between these two choices, you have a code in the Pascal Where P executes the signal operation, it immediately leaves the monitor, hence Q is immediately resumed. What we have to do here is whenever any process is calling a signal, it must leave the monitor because on which on which the signal was done, right? If some suspended process is there on that condition variable, that will be resumed immediately. So many programming languages have incorporated the idea of monitor as described in this section, including Java and C Sharp, right? And there are some other language, Erlang. It provides the concurrent support using a similar mechanism. So whatever the mechanism we discussed till now, right? Whenever any process is calling the signal, it must leave the monitor because some other process is resuming with this signal operation, right? Guys, clear? Yes? Please respond, ma. If it is clear for you all, I'll take some break so that we can see the dining philosopher solution using the monitors. Guys, yes? Okay? Can I take the break? I'll have some water and I'll eat something and come. Thank you. Yes, ma. I'll share the PPTs, not a problem. Right? After the monitors concept, we are done with that. I will share you the PPT, not a problem, right? Guys, give me 2 more minutes. ఏమమ్మా synchronization problem ba? Deadlocks తో పంపించేసా కదా. Okay, you want the PPTs till semaphores. Yes? Yeah, okay, okay. The problem is if because they have to pick their left first, if all are hungry at the same time and they left their left chopstick, it may lead to the deadlock, right? And there is a starvation problem also. So for that, we are trying to give the solution using the monitors, right? But with the monitors also, there are the chances for the deadlocks, right? And how to overcome that, I gave you 3 solutions. But with that, one philosopher, he may starve to death because of he is not getting the chance to eat. He may die, right? Now I am trying to give you the better solution by making use of the monitors, right? So we illustrate the monitor concepts by presenting a deadlock-free solution to the dining philosopher problem. The solution imposes the restriction that a philosopher may pick up her chopsticks only if both of them are available. So whatever the solution I gave you 3 solutions using the when we are using the monitors, we have the problem, no? There I gave you 3 solutions. So among the second solution is if any philosopher wants to eat, first he has to check whether his both chopsticks are available or not. If both are available, then only he will be allowed to eat. So how we are making yeah, that is the third one. Third, okay, ma. Now, but here for giving the solution using the monitors, I am using the second solution. That is, make sure that his left and right both are available, right? Then only he will be allowed to eat. So how we can make sure that both are available or not? By making both the chopsticks, left and right chopsticks, by making the chopsticks in some critical section. Yes, ma'am. That can be done. But using the monitors, I am giving the solution by keeping the chopsticks in the critical section, and whenever any philosopher wants to eat, we should make sure that his left and right both are available, then only he is allowed to eat. Rendu available unnayani check chesin tarvate he will pick both and he will eat, then he will release. Now you understand the concept, guys, how I am going to handle the dining philosopher problem using the monitors. The solution imposes the restriction that a philosopher may pick up her chopsticks only if the both of them are available. ముందు లెఫ్ట్ ది తర్వాత రైట్ ది కాదమ్మా, ఫస్ట్ వి విల్ చెక్ ఇఫ్ బోత్ ఆర్ అవైలబుల్. ఎలా చెక్ చేస్తాము? బై కీపింగ్ దెమ్ ఇన్ ద క్రిటికల్ సెక్షన్. క్రిటికల్ సెక్షన్ లో చెక్ చేస్తాను రెండు అవైలబుల్ ఉన్నాయా లేదా. ఎస్, బోత్ ఆర్ అవైలబుల్, దెన్ ఓన్లీ హీ విల్ బి అలౌడ్ టు ఈట్. హీ విల్ బి అలౌడ్ టు పిక్. ఫస్ట్ ఆఫ్ ఆల్ హీ విల్ బి అలౌడ్ టు పిక్, రైట్? So if you see the code, right, this is the code for your dining philosopher problem. using the monitors, right? So here we are using three data structures, ma. We are using three data structures. They are thinking, hungry, and eating, right? So these three will tell you the state of the philosopher, right? We are defining a data structure enum, right? We are defining a data structure enum. And in this, we will be having three variables which will give you the state of the philosopher. Right? You are getting me, guys? Enum, I'm defining a data structure here which will give you the state of the philosopher, whether he is in the eating state or whether he is in the thinking state or whether he is in the hungry state. Right? And here, philosopher I can set the variable state of I is equal to eating only if her two neighbors are not eating. Remember, these are the three states, no? When the philosopher I can set the variable state, right? When he can put the variable state is equal to eating is if her two neighbors are not eating. If you see the code, guys, and one more condition here I am giving, this is the condition variable self. I am using a condition variable self, right? So this will allow the philosopher to delay herself when she is hungry but it is unable to obtain the chopsticks she needs. What is this condition self will tell you is it will make the philosopher wait when he is hungry and his two chopsticks are not available. And this enum is the data structure. It is defining the state. It is defining the state of the philosopher. He'll be in any one of the states. Either he'll be in the thinking, he'll be hungry and eating. When state of I is equal to eating is when his left and right chopsticks are available. Right? So these two lines are understanding, no? Guys, you understand, no? These first two lines. What is this enum and what is this condition? Yes or no? Yes. Now, void pickup. Right? Void pickup. So this is a procedure. If you see the monitor data structure, so we'll define the monitor with the monitor name. Then we'll have the common variables, right? Shared variables, and we'll have the condition variable here, and it will have some set of functions. Right? So what are the procedures it is having is void pickup, void put down, right? And void test. We have void test. We have void test. What is this initialization code? So when this can be initialized, when this monitor will be initialized is when we use the monitor is here for I is equal to 0 to 4 for all the philosophers, this code will be executed when their state is equal to thinking. Initially their state will be thinking, right? When their state will be thinking. So now let's check with this pickup. So when the philosopher is allowed to pick up, if the state of I is equal to hungry, when the philosopher is hungry, then he will pick up the chopsticks. He will pick up the chopsticks. So for picking of the chopstick, he has to execute this test code. He has to execute this test code. What is there in the test code? If the state of I plus 4 percentile 5 is not eating and state of I is hungry and state of I plus 1 percentile 5 is eating. Not eating, sorry. That means if the left side and the right side are not eating, and if he is hungry, he can change the state to eating. You are getting me, guys? First state of I plus 4 will check. Let's consider it as for the 0. 0 plus 4 percentile 5 is 4. 4 means his left side philosopher is not eating and the right side philosopher is not eating. Ikkada I plus 1 is equal to 1. So wait, let me draw here. Right. See, I have the table here. P0, P1, P2, P3, P4. Right? So here for each philosopher, there is a state defined. State of I, it can be either thinking, eating, hungry. Right? So initially it will be defined to thinking for all the philosophers. Other philosophers initial ga thinking state lo unnaru. Right? Now, let's consider P0 got hungry. P0 is hungry now. Right? Then what he will do is, he tried to execute the monitor. Monitor, philosopher. So in this enum, the definition is there, and he have a condition variable self of 5. Self will tell you that what self is trying to do is, right? It will make the philosopher wait. It will make the philosopher wait, even though he is hungry, because his left and right side chopsticks are not available. Now, first when P0 wants to eat, if he is hungry, first what he will do is, he will execute this void pickup. Void pickup of int I, into 0. He is 0 philosopher. Then what he will do is, he will change his state to hungry. Initially it is in thinking, no? Now he will change his state to hungry. Now he will check. He will execute this test of I. So he will check whether his left side or right side are available. He is means P0 and P2 are not eating. He will confirm with this test. So in the test, what happens is, int test of int I, the condition is, if state of I plus 4 percentile 5 is not equal to eating, and I is 0 plus 4, that is P4, and state of I plus 1 percentile 5 is not eating, that is 0 plus 1, that is 1. So P1 and P4 are not eating. This will be checked here. See, in this state of I plus 4, that is, if P4 is not eating and P1 is not eating and P0 is hungry, now he can eat. Now P0 can eat. Now what he will do is, he will change his state to eating. He will change his state to eating. Right? Then what he will do? He will call wait on self. He will call wait on self. What he will do here? He will call sorry. He'll be in the eating state. It is wait is test of I. If state of I is not eating, and wait. Guys, 1 second. So he will execute this test of I. In test of I, what happens is, yes, he will change the state of I to eating. Right? He will change the state of I to eating. So he is done with the eating. Right? He is done with the eating. After eating, he will make the signal on self. He will make the signal on self. That means no, the other can eat. At the end of the test, what he has to do is he has to make self of I is equal to signal. But after executing this self of I signal chesin tarvata, what he will do is after executing this test of I, right? Test of I, then if the state of I is not equal to eating, right? If the state of I is not eating, now he is done with the eating. Now what he will do? He will release the lock on self. So in the test, what he is doing, he is eating and he is calling the signal on that. He is calling the signal on self. That means it will be locked here because he is in the eating state. So after eating, what he will do is he will check if the state of I is not eating, he will release the lock on that. So don't get confused, guys. Here I'll write. So first what he will check, P0 wants to eat. So he will pick up, in the pickup, he will check whether he is hungry or not. Because he is hungry, he will execute the test. The test lo em chestundante when if P0 wants to eat, he will check P1 and P4 both are available. Yes, available. Then he will change its state to eating. And when he is eating, what he will do is he will put the signal on self.signal. That means he will log the, because he is eating, right? He will put the lock on the self. He will put the lock on the self. So what this self will help? If someone is eating, the self will help the other philosophers to wait until he completes the eating. So when P0 is eating and the other philosopher, right? The other philosopher wants to eat. That means either P1 or P4. If the neighbors, these wants to eat, it will make the P1 and P4 philosophers to wait until P0 release. When P0 will release after he is done with the eating. That means if the state of I is not eating, if the state of I is not eating, then he will release the lock on the self. Right? Okay, he is done with that. Then what he has to do? He has to put down the chopstick. So if the state of I is thinking, right? State of I is thinking. Let's consider. So this will test the state of the left and right neighbors. So you check. Test I plus 4 percentile 5. So let's consider I is equal to 0. 0 plus 4 percentile 5, 4. And then test I plus 1. That is 1 percentile 5. Right? So what this will do? It is going to check the state of the left and right side neighbors. Right? You are getting me, guys? He'll put on the chopsticks after eating the food. This is to pick up the chopsticks and it is to pick up the, put on the chopsticks, right? If I is in the thinking state, right? So then what he will do is he will check he is going to test the state of the left and right neighbor. So if the left neighbor is eating or thinking, or the left neighbor is right neighbor is eating or thinking, to check that this test of I plus 4 percentile 5 and test of I plus 1 percentile 5 will be done, right? So in the test what it will be done, right? Here the condition will be failed when we are checking if the left side person or the right side person are eating, right? Let's consider the left side person is eating. So how that can be done? Again, this will be executed here, right? So test of 1. Let's consider checking the test of 1. So if for 1, what it will be done? So if the state of I plus 4 percentile 5, because I is equal to 1, 5 percentile 5. If 5 is not eating, and the test of I is equal to hungry, that means if the P1 is hungry, right? If P1 is hungry, and test of I plus 1 percentile 5. What is I plus 1 for the I? I plus 1 means here I is equal to 1, no? For checking the neighbor, 1 plus 1, 2. 2 percentile 5, 2. If 2 is not eating, then he can make state of I is equal to eating by making the lock. That means this put down means after the put down, after he is putting the chopsticks, right? Now the left side right side persons can be checked. That means the test will be executed on the left side neighbor and the right side neighbor. So here it will give the chance if the left side neighbor can be able to do it, because for that, what again he is checking, his left and right are his left and right are not eating. It will check if they are not eating. Now the chance will be given to P1, right? If the P1 neighbor is eating, not given the chance to the P1. It also will be checked for P4, right? So for P4, again it will be checked whether the left side neighbor is eating or the right side neighbor is eating or not. So if any one of the condition fails, he will not be allowed to eat. He will not be allowed to eat. So that way we will be giving the chance to all the philosophers, right? We'll be giving the chance to all the philosophers. So that will be done here. So each philosopher invokes the operations pick up and put down in the following sequences. So first he will pick up the chopsticks, he will eat, and he will put down the chopsticks. So there no deadlock and starvation is possible. Why? Because after he is putting down, in the put down what we are checking is when he will put down is again we are checking that the neighbors will be allowed to eat or not. When the neighbor will be allowed, when the neighbor will get the chance, both his left and right side are not eating, right? By checking those conditions, we will give the signal either to the left side person or the right side person, right? You understand, guys? My voice is breaking. Now it is clear, guys. So you understand this, ma? So when philosopher can eat, if her both neighbors are not eating, that is the case. We should consider, right? So this will allow the philosopher. What is the self condition we are using? That allow the philosopher to delay herself when she is hungry but unable to obtain the chopstick she needs, either left or right, both any one of them are busy, he will not be allowed, right? So the distribution of the chopstick is controlled by the monitor here, timing philosopher, right, which was just now we discussed. So each philosopher before start to eat must invoke the operation pickup, right? So this may result in the suspension of the philosopher process. So when they are calling the pickup, right? When they are calling the pickup, right? Then what it will do is no other process is allowed to execute this pickup, this monitor. No one is allowed to use the monitor until unless there is a wait signal passed, right? So after the successful completion of the operation, the philosopher may eat. So if he can able to execute the test operation successfully, he can able to execute the test operation successfully, he can eat, right? He can eat. After eating, what he will do is he will execute the put down operation. Thus, right, he will execute the put down operation. That means he will make his state to thinking, and he is giving the chance to either the left side or the right side philosopher to eat, right? It will allow the left side or the right side philosopher to eat, right? So it will definitely ensure that no two neighbors are eating simultaneously and the deadlock will never occur, right? But in this case, there is a possibility that a philosopher to starve to death, but the solution was not given in your textbook, right? In this textbook, this was only given to allow a philosopher to eat and to solve the dining philosopher problem without leading to the deadlock situation. Without leading to the deadlock situation, right? So this is all about for today, guys. So I'll stop the class today.